Welcome to my channel Sella Buzz. 73 years old. The name Glenn Hughes, which has come to represent rock and roll, is making headlines once more. This time, there were some startling disclosures regarding his tenure in Deep Purple. Glenn's revelation of a severe separation with his former bandmates has surprised fans worldwide. The legendary bassist has openly stated that he will never again communicate with his former comrades. In a startling 2024 interview with Guitar Interactive magazine, Hughes finally shared his side of the tale after decades of conflict, treachery, and silence. "I have no time left for this," Hughes said. Fans were struck speechless by his remarks, and fellow rock stars were left wondering, what could have driven this rock icon to such a breaking point? When Deep Purple was honored at the 2016 Rock and Roll Hall of Fame event, Hughes stood on stage feeling invisible as leader Ian Gillan totally ignored him. It was the last straw, a slight that stung at what should have been one of his happiest moments of his career. It wasn't merely a casual slight. Glenn was genuinely hurt. That moment changed everything for him. But the pain didn't stop there. A person close to Hughes explained. Hughes offered Gillan support and condolences after he lost his wife tragically in 2022. There was total silence in response. No response, no acknowledgement. Nothing being treated as though I didn't exist. After years of touring together and making music that defined a generation was the last straw, Hughes admitted. Gillan retaliated, rejecting Hughes's disclosures as opportunistic statements and asserting that any conflict was just a result of typical band personality conflicts. However, for Hughes, these were more than merely artistic distinctions. The betrayal was personal. Fans are picking sides in the Deep Purple drama, but Hughes isn't letting it stop him. He is continuously touring, creating, and interacting with audiences all around the world at the age of 73. His message is unambiguous. According to longtime admirer Mike Donner, Glenn is teaching us all how to age with dignity and truth. So, you don't need to hang on to bad relationships even if they were the source of your iconic music. He's not just a rock star, he's teaching us about self-respect. Deep Purple wrote some of the most famous rock songs ever, but there was a storm building behind the guitar solos and smoke machines. "I'm done chasing respect from people who don't value me," Glenn Hughes, whose soulful voice and thundering bass lines helped define the band's sound in the mid-1970s, said plainly in a recent interview. His remarks struck fans hard, particularly those who grew up admiring Deep Purple's iconic lineup. At what should have been a celebration, the tension peaked. Hughes demanded at least rudimentary civility from his former bandmates when Deep Purple was inducted into the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame in 2016. Instead, he was awkwardly standing as Ian Gillan on stage. Ian Pace and Roger Glover pretended he wasn't there. One witness described the awkward situation as being similar to a family gathering where nobody recalls who you are. Glenn's pain was visible on his face. The news that Gillan had lost his wife in 2020 was Hughes's breaking point. Hughes extended out in sympathy, putting aside past disagreements. It was a human act that went beyond traditional taboo politics. "I tried everything," Hughes disclosed. "I texted, and I called. I didn't receive your communication or even a thank you." Nothing for Hughes. This stillness spoke a lot. Following decades of common history, the albums and the tours. During such a personal outreach, ignoring the highs and lows of rock celebrity felt like the ultimate rejection. "I realized then that everything was really finished." Hughes acknowledged life is too short for one-way partnerships at my age. Ian Gillan was blunt when questioned about Hughes' statements. The renowned singer minimized any deliberate snubbing and wrote off Hughes' suffering as opportunistic remarks, saying, "Bands are like families." Gillan said, "We don't always get along, but that doesn't mean there's some big conspiracy." Glenn has his own perspective. Although we have different perspectives, many people who are familiar with the matter claim that Gillan's statement merely supports Hughes' argument. He has yet to acknowledge Glenn's emotions. Renowned rock reporter Sandra Winters. Glenn has been enduring this type of rejection for years. The reality of playing in a great rock band is revealed by Hughes's account. Real people with real emotions are behind the sold-out stadiums and gold records. Dr. James Norton, a music psychologist, discusses the image as fans watch the music and acts. They fail to notice the power struggles, personality conflicts, and egos that have the capacity to rip bands apart from the inside out. The price proved too much for Hughes. Even though Deep Purple has an indisputable place in rock history, he has prioritized his own dignity over upholding a phony sense of fraternity. I gave that band my voice, my talent, and my enthusiasm. Hughes thought about being treated like though I didn't exist. No, thank you. I've moved on. Hughes isn't going away, even though the Deep Purple chapter is over. He continues to tour extensively and record new songs at the age of 73, when many rock musicians have given up playing their instruments. One concert reviewer praised Glenn's voice after a recent performance, saying it somehow has even more strength now. He is currently making important music instead of relying on nostalgia. It appears that Hughes' greatest retaliation is this forward momentum. He is focusing his energies on new endeavors and establishing connections with supporters who value him for who he is now, rather than obsessing on previous hurts. The most important thing is the supporters. Hughes underlined that true loyalty is when someone sticks by you through everything. Some fans are unsure of how to feel about Deep Purple's music in light of Hughes's statements. Music historian Patricia Coleman questions whether you can still enjoy Smoke on the Water when you know that the musicians may not even communicate with one another. The music transcends interpersonal connections. Despite disagreements between the creators, what Deep Purple produced together will always be significant. It alters my perception of the songs. Trevor Walsh, a longtime fan, acknowledged, "I've never heard the strain before, but I can hear it now." Perhaps the most potent element of Hughes's tale has nothing to do with music, but rather with self-worth. He's showing that it's never too late to demand respect and stand up for yourself at the age of 73. "I wasted too many years attempting to mend relationships that couldn't be fixed," Hughes said. "I now concentrate on people who value me. That's what counts at my age." And for upcoming musicians, Hughes' position teaches valuable lessons about self-respect and limits in a field known for snatching people up and spitting them out. Glenn's demonstration of the limitations of even legends, observed upcoming bassist Williams, Jamal. That is a powerful sight. Hughes has stated that there is no turning back as he continues his trek alone. It seems that there is no chance of a reconciliation with Deep Purple. Certain bridges cannot be restored. Hughes said plainly, "This may be disheartening news for fans hoping for a final reunion, and to be honest, I don't want to rebuild this one." However, it's liberation for Hughes. After years of feeling ignored and underappreciated, he is now prioritizing himself. Rock and roll drama isn't the only aspect of Glenn's life, according to music therapist Lisa Chen. It all comes down to knowing when to leave for your own emotional well-being. That's a message that transcends music in many ways. Glenn Hughes stands upright as the last notes of this chapter of rock history fade, not as a resentful former member, but as a man who at last found peace by putting his dignity above painful ties to the past. The music continues for Hughes, but without the